Hello everyone, back tuning into JMA Friday. We're doing the month ahead look ahead with the Japanese and CFS V2 models for today. It'll take us to the end of September, can you believe, virtually. So we're going through the first month of autumn 2015. Speaking of autumn, the final and official Gazzo of this autumn forecast will be released here at the website on Sunday morning. So if you want to know what could be around the corner for the autumn, you've not got long to wait now. We'll be doing the September month-ahead forecast tomorrow as well. So update coming thick and fast this weekend. There'll also be a blog update on Sunday afternoon, just having a sneak peek at the winter of 2015-2016. So lots going on over the weekend. Do keep checking back for all of the updates. But this video is going to be focusing on the coming month from the JMA and CFS V2 models. Now, before we get on with that, just very quickly to make sure the ads, there's links to articles on all pages at gazzo.com. Have a browse through the widgets. Any articles that you're interested in, please click through. You'll be able to go off and read the article, and thanks so much for doing that. There's also video ads on most pages. They open out within the content, and then when you've watched them, they'll close back up again. Thanks so much for getting involved. It's helping to pay for the website, so thanks for doing that. I'm going to be resting JMA Friday next week. There won't be a Japanese update on Friday next week because I'm going to be away from Monday to Friday. I'm going to try and update the written summary on the homepage on a couple of mornings next week. But other than that, the output at the website, particularly in terms of videos, will be much reduced next week. So I'm going to have a couple of days away, just to recharge batteries before coming back, and then we'll be on, of course, into all of the winter updates through the course of the autumn. Right, let's get on with JMA frame. We're going to start off with the 500 millibar height anomaly charts, broken down into weekly periods from the Japanese model. Orange, yellow, red extrapolates to high pressure, blue extrapolates to low pressure. The first weekly period is the week that we're in, actually. It's the 28th of August through to the 4th of September. So what we find with this one is that we've got some ridging out in the Atlantic, but we've also got this trough running through the central part of the Atlantic into the UK and on into Scandinavia. The flow with that is probably going a bit like that, really quite a bizarre flow, but it means anyway it's relatively unsettled, probably particularly to start the period. As we go through, this trough gets reduced, and the ridge, as we go through the course of next week anyway, this ridge should start to exert its influence more, certainly settling things down, but probably also keeping things relatively cool. Have a look at the next week period, this one going from the 4th through to the 11th of September, and now we've got high pressure in control. I've got these above average heights ridging down from the north, so it's not going to be a heat wave with that. High pressure is centred to the north of the country. It means that the air is coming around that high pressure in that sort of direction, from a northerly, northeasterly type direction. So it won't be a heat wave, but it will be relatively settled, I would think, on that sort of setup. But overall pretty chilly with the air coming around the ridge from a northerly, northeasterly type direction. And as we go through to the final 2-week period, it's going from the 11th through to the 25th of September. This was rather odd to interpret, as often is through the 2-weekly period at the end. We've got the ridge going up to Scandinavia then. Also a ridge pulling back towards Newfoundland. Quite what's happening for us, I'm not sure, but I think overall heights are probably lowering here. This could be a transitional period, really, starting off probably quite settled with that ridge to the north, and then gradually I would think the Atlantic sort of begins to erode it down. So by the time you go through to the final week or so, I would assume we're probably back in an Atlantic flow then, probably turning more unsettled in the second half of September would be my interpretation of how that is playing out. Let's have a look at the temperatures and precipitation for the coming month from the JMA model. So we start off again with the first week period, 28th of August through to the 4th of September. This one we know is a little bit more unsettled. We've got that trough generally out to West Country. Pretty sure it's just here in the far north, in the far top right-hand corner of the chart as you're looking at it, right over at the very edge. Well, what we see for this one is that we've got this trough moving in off the Atlantic through the coming week. It means that the temperatures are generally suppressed here, where we're below average with the temperatures, as we have been through most of the summer on these charts. The rainfall, though, isn't too bad. We're coming out a little bit drier than average in most beige colours. So not too bad with the rainfall, but pretty cool temperatures for the coming week. Next week period finds that ridge building down from the north, of course, with those yellow colours just there, the above average heights building in, but from a northerly direction, so not going to be hot. In fact, the temperature anomaly is again coming out very disappointing for the week from the 4th to the 11th of September, coming out cooler than average. As we have a look at the rainfall anomaly, we're coming out a bit drier than average again, so it's not too bad with the rainfall in those beige colours, just generally a bit on the cool side. And then the final 2 week period all gets rather strange in terms of the 500 millibar heights, but in terms of the temperatures, no real change actually, staying cooler than average. So another cooler than average month being signalled here by the JMA. Probably a bit pessimistic with this, but overall nothing to write home about with the temperatures. At the very best will be average, could come out cooler than average if this is right. And in terms of the rainfall, again, it's not too bad. We're coming out a little bit drier than average. So throughout September, the signal from the JMA is for a relatively dry month, not too bad with the rainfall, but the temperatures do look very cool throughout the month. Now, remember this 2 week period is transitional, so we could be starting off quite dry, but maybe going more towards wetter conditions later on, and that's how I would interpret what the JMA is hinting there through that 2 weekly period at the end of the month. Probably transitioning from quite a dry setup to something more unsettled. Let's have a look at the CFS V2. Again, these are 500 millibar heights broken down into week periods. So the first week period will take us from the 27th of August through to the 2nd of September. Same idea, blue, green extrapolates to low pressure, red, those are the colours that extrapolate to high pressure. So through the coming week, we've got this ridge centred to the east of the country, but also got a trough in the Atlantic, also got some blocking close to Greenland. Quite an odd looking chart again, but the general gist of things is that the flow as an anomaly through the week is going something like that. So it starts off quite unsettled, but then probably turns more settled next week as this ridge up here starts to exert more of an influence. Move through to the next week period. This was going from the 3rd through to the 9th of September, and this one, pretty good representation I think for next week's weather. We've got this ridge out to the west and the northwest of the country. The trough is going to the south here. So this ridge is turning things drier and more settled, but the flow is going rather like that. It's quite a bizarre flow from the start of September. I don't see a flow like that very often from the start of September, but what it all means is that we're bringing down pretty cool air from the north. So don't be expecting a heat wave there with that one through the first week to 10 days of September. That looks pretty cool. Have a look at the temperatures in a moment, but it is more settled, particularly up to the north and the west. The next weekly period, going from the 10th through to the 16th of September, looks like this. The ridge is more or less building into the country then, so we're cutting off that northerly flow. It could be a little bit drier and warmer there with that one. Certainly warmer, and I think it's going to be pretty dry as well, that high pressure building in across the country. So middle part of the month probably turns a little bit warmer as we cut off that north flow. Don't be expecting a heat wave though, again with that. It could still be quite chilly, particularly at night. Just feel a little bit better by day. And then we go through to the final week, this one going from the 17th to the 23rd of September, and then signs of a change with this one. The ridge is generally building down to the south of the country, and the trough is coming back to the north. So we've got low pressure here coming back through the northern Atlantic. that means the jet stream returns, really, and I think it turns more unsettled with that. It's breaking down the high pressure with fine showery rain initially coming in from the northwest, and then probably with time turning more unsettled. So between the JMA and the CFS V2, I think we have got a pattern here, which is for quite a lot of dry weather through the first half of the month, although probably fairly chilly. The second half of the month probably sees a change to more unsettled conditions. Let's see how the temperatures and precipitation go with that. So this is the temperature anomaly from the 27th of August through to the 2nd of September. What we see there is that we're coming out a little bit cooler than average, near normal to a little bit cooler than average for the end of August. Then we go significantly cooler than average through the 3rd to the 9th of September. So that's sort of next week, second half of next week. Significantly cooler than average temperature anomalies there. Moving through to the 3rd weekly period, the 10th, I should say, through to the 16th of September. What we see with this is that the temperature anomaly comes up a little bit, so it's an improvement with the temperatures as I thought it would be. The high pressure sort of building in over top of the country there, so the temperatures do lift up a bit. Don't be expecting a heat wave, but it's not as bad as the week before, if you see what I mean. And then the final week period, this is when the high pressure is sort of being broken down, and the westerlies, unsettled flow, is returning back from the Atlantic. And with this one, 17th to 23rd of September, the temperature anomaly is going cooler than average again. The rainfall anomaly looks like this one. The coming week is wetter than average. It's from the 27th of August to the 2nd of September. Wetter than average through this week. I think that's probably a bit over the top. I don't think it's going to be as bad as that is suggesting. The next weekly period, this one got that high pressure to the north, of course, bringing down the northerly flow. So this shows drier than average conditions for the north and west, near normal to the south and the east. This is a drier week, though, albeit the temperatures are doing a bit of a plummet. The next weekly period, it's near normal, really, but the high pressure's in over the top of the coast, so I expect this to be a significantly drier than average week from the 10th to the 16th of September. And then finally, the Atlantic is returning for this last weekly period, 17th to 23rd of September. The Atlantic comes back. So with this one, we're seeing, again, near normal precipitation, but just hinting at being a little bit wetter than average. And actually, I will think that is wetter than that. So the signal gets weaker, of course, as we go through to week 3, week 4. But I think week 3 is probably really quite dry. Week 4 could be significantly more unsettled. Although it is a transitional period, really. So maybe it won't be that wet, but sort of it transitions through the week to wetter conditions. Anyway, I think we've got the pattern here between the JMA and the CFS V2 for September. They are in sort of agreement. It doesn't necessarily mean that the pattern will be right, of course. These are experimental models. But the general idea is that it's going to be pretty cool September. The first half has a lot of dry weather. The second half probably starts off dry around middle month, and then goes to a more unsettled pattern into the second half of September. That could be taking us into a more unsettled October. That's very speculative, of course. But the overall idea is for pretty cool temperatures, a lot of dry weather first half, more unsettled second half. We will be doing the September month-end forecast tomorrow at gavsweathers.com. After the weekend forecast, it'll be in the afternoon. So we'll see what we predict. It's a little bit earlier than normal because I'm going away next week. But that's it. Thanks for watching.